Don't open the doors.
Did he say open the doors?
Don't
No.
open the doors. I think he said don't open. Did you say don't?
All right, you
open
heard him, Petrovich. Open the doors.
Don't open the doors.
The Apocalypse Players present Machine Tractor Station Kharkov-37, a Call of Cthulhu scenario written by Bret Kramer.
Oh, look, there's the sign.
Ah, yes.
Machine Tractor Station Kharkov-37.
It's pretty quiet around here, isn't it?
With Danann McAleer as Senior Lieutenant Grigor Fyodorov of the Red Army.
There, hopefully you won't piss your bed now.
Joseph Chance as Senior Sergeant Dr. Vissarion Beo Ivanovich Yuskov Lyubimova of the Red Army.
For it will not always be winter, my friends. One day, this place too will be beautiful, with the orchards of the Soviet Republic.
Dominic Allen as Administrator Major Yuri Kopelev of the Telegraph Service of the Soviet Union.
So, this is Machine Tractor Station Kharkov.
And Dan Wheeler as everybody else.
What's his name? Kowalski. Kowalewski. Kowalewski.
Remember, at this point, the lieutenant, the doctor, and the other members of the Red Army had no reason to suspect their guests were anything other than dedicated members of the Telegraph Service, sent to repair the lines at the tractor station. The convoy had been making good time, traveling through those bleak kolkhozes when they chose to stop for the night, and when the privates made that startling discovery.
I take it you didn't bring me all the way here to discuss a deformed rabbit.
No. The sight of the creature disturbed the men, that's true. But it is what happened next, which is of interest.
Please, continue.
The following day, they rose at dawn.
And there's a cluster of privates all sort of clustered around having a conversation. And as you approach them, Lieutenant Fyodorov, you see they're clustered around the ammo box. And there's a bit of consternation.
What's the problem?
And the sergeant turns to you and says, the men say the rabbit must be buried. It is bad luck. It must be buried here. The men...
Don't talk to me about superstitious claptrap. We're out here in the wilderness. These are guests. They want to preserve it in case it's useful scientifically. There's nothing. It's not a demon. It's an inbred rabbit. Get over it.
There's a bit of conversation, and he turns back to you and says, "The men want to know: is this? The men would like to know: is this an order from you, or is it an order from the TASS agents?"
It's an order from me. I'm being gracious to our guests. You take orders from me, unless you've forgotten.
Sir. So reluctantly, they all sort of shuffle away, but you're getting quite a lot of side eye from the men.
Do I hear any of this, or is I'm not up yet?
I think you're aware of what's going on. I think everyone's awake. This is while the camp's being sort of dismantled and loaded into the trucks. Everyone's getting ready to leave.
Is there a fast talker amongst that group? If I was to drop a rumor of the rubles that might be attached,
What game is he playing?
Who would spread it faster?
Kovalevsky.
No, well, Kovalevsky, I don't think he would.
Sergeant.
He's a right piece of work, isn't he? But actually, yeah, it's Kovalevsky. It is Kovalevsky. I wonder if I take up my pipe. I barely got my uniform done up. I'm just tucking it back over my portly belly, and I take up my pipe and I'm lighting it, and I have a little whiskey. I have a little vodka. Fuck, not whiskey. And I light my pipe, and I wander over and I say, Kovalevsky, comrade.
Yeah.
Sergeant, my fellow sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Just think what this rabbit might be worth to the company. I tell you what, if we see this back home, we send it on to Moscow. I think I can safely say that everyone will see a benefit. Yes?
I can see where you're coming from, but the men don't like it. It's fine. They're doing what the order was, but
All right. I will make a plea to Fyodorov. and I will say that we will stop off and perhaps lose it. If they will tell me why they are so upset about it, you find that out to me. We stop off for the next time we need to take shit.
It's not very complicated. They feel that it's a bad omen. Some of them are a little bit superstitious. Some of them might even practice, the old religion.
I understand, yes, of course.
But it's fine. They obey orders, but it's worth me saying they might not obey orders forever.
All right, I will speak to Fyodorov. Okay.
Are you ready to leave?
Are you?
I am.
Da. And then I will head back over to Fyodorov.
I was going to ask if
Of course.
just before we set off, I could approach the major and just say, listen, you have to understand, the men here are very superstitious. We need the morale to be kept up, yes, if we're to be efficient. So I recommend to you, we stash the ammunition box with the rabbit here so we don't have to keep it with us like an albatross around our necks.
It is the doctor who wants to preserve the rabbit.
Beo.
Yes? Were you talking about me? I was just walking over, and Major, good morning, Comrade Major.
We're happy to leave the casket with the rabbit here so we don't have to travel with it. It may help with the morale among the men.
This is probably sensible. Let us bury it here in as much ice as we can dig.
Bury it in the lee of the wall here quickly. Just cover it with stuff. It won't be disturbed.
I just want to be clear, it is no business to me. We have collected the data that we need about the rabbit and we can move on.
Yes.
If the doctor wishes to preserve it, then I am all for this course of action as well.
Well, it's cold enough here. We don't need it warming up in the trucks.
Triepanov overhears this conversation and says, if I understood the suspicions of the men correctly, it is not so much traveling with the rabbit, it's more that they wanted to see it buried. So if you're leaving it here, I suggest you maybe make a bit more of a big thing of it.
This is a good thinking. Very well. Let us bury it.
Blockensteff, fetch a shovel. Kovalevsky, hey, tell the men, we're burying the rabbit.
I stroke my beard in my most pastorly fashion, like an Orthodox priest. And I say, comrades, gather around, let us bury this poor, innocent creature in memory of the things that have happened here and in honor of the future that will one day spring here. For it will not always be winter, my friends. One day, this place too will be beautiful with the orchards of the Soviet Republic. We will one day see the majesty and wonder of the work of the people here again.
So the soldiers are not really listening to what you're saying, but they are visibly relieved to see the rabbit buried.
I walk away from this as it's happening, light up a cigarette, and just slap a random private on the back and say, there, hopefully you won't piss your bed now.
If I see Fyodorov going off for a cigarette, I think I'll join him, as if I'm having a cigarette and kind of ignoring this superstitious nonsense as well.
Right at the end, as those two are wandering off for their cigarette, I will say, and all this I do under the order of our enlightened leader, Lieutenant Fyodorov. To him, I raise a toast, my friends.
A few people raise little hip flasks and various vessels and make their ways back onto the truck, ready to leave.
So I'd like to say to Fyodorov, just casually as we're having a cigarette, so have you ever seen anything like, you said quite assuredly that it was an inbred rabbit.
Yeah.
I just wondered if you have any experience of this before.
Not maybe to this extent, but I've seen inbred kittens, puppies, litters in villages. You get to know it. You see the eyes slightly joined together. Perhaps there's an extra foot. I'm not saying I'm an expert, and I maybe have not seen anything that bad, but it struck me as reasonable to assume it was the same thing.
Yes, there are cats with two faces that you get. Janos cats.
Ah, yes. Do they have different personalities, do you think? The faces?
I think it is one cat with two faces.
Ah, that must be annoying.
You ever seen a human like that?
No, have you?
No. And I want to do a psychology roll on him.
I also want to do a psychology roll.
We're just staring at each other for ages.
I'm going to roll for you, Kopelev. You've rolled an 8.
That's a really good success. What
I failed.
Nearly. It's an extreme success.
What do you want to learn from Fyodorov?
I want to know if he's lying. If he has seen humans that are deformed in that way.
As far as you can tell, correct me if I'm wrong, Fyodorov, but as far as you can tell, he hasn't seen a human deformed in this way. No.
Yeah, I failed my test, so
Okay.
I just feel slightly unsettled.
Triepanov in the front of the van gives the horn a little beep beep.
Well, let us hope there is no more myxomatosis on the road.
Yes, quite so. And I get back into the front of the first van with the doctor, the good doctor.
Great. So there's still maybe another few hours of rough driving. Could I have another drive roll from people? I'm going to do one for Triepanov.
Could you do one for me as well?
Oh dear. Oh, Triepanov has failed his driving roll, so someone else is going to have to pass theirs this time. Oh no, he has passed. Sorry, his driving's really good. You're fine.
Thank God he's there.
So
I don't know, just follow him. He looks like he knows where he's going.
yeah, Triepanov's behind, so I don't know why. Anyway, he's following, but somehow his driving skill is affecting you all. So there comes a point where the road is no longer marked and the track isn't clear, but you can tell the way because there's like a telegraph branch line, and you know that's what you're going to fix. So you follow the telegraph branch line. You sort of see as you come over a ridge, the station, you sort of see it in the distance. The area is all quite marshy, but there are these sort of outcrops of rocky ground, and on that you can see the station, and also off in the distance around it you can see a few more kolkhozes. Can you all give me an intelligence roll?
My intelligence.
I failed.
I think I'm nodding off slightly.
Yeah.
My intelligence is 70,
Paying
Dan.
attention.
Okay, so you pass. So you, which is totally appropriate because you're looking to see whether you can see places where the telegraph line is broken, and it's broken in many places. This is not going to be an easy fix. It's not like one little bit where the line is down. It looks like the bad winter weather has brought it down all over the place. This is a lot. This is going to keep you busy for.
Does it look like bad winter weather?
It looks a lot like bad winter weather, but this looks like the kind of job that's going to keep your team busy for best part of a week, to be honest. Now, can you give me a spot hidden roll? I think I especially want this because you've observed this, Major Kopelev.
63 on my spot hidden.
Great. So your spot hidden tells you that there's also a short stretch of telegraph poles that are missing. The whole poles are missing. So that potentially isn't winter weather. And the stretch of cable that goes with them, it's all gone. So there's a lot that's definitely winter weather, and then there's a stretch they're just all gone. Anyway, as you sort of get closer, you all observe that the soil is really dusty and loose, much more so than you'd expect, I guess, given this sort of weather can be a bit wet, and here in marshland, the soil is really loose. There's a distinct lack of plant life in this area. But it's winter, and it's been a harsh winter. Now you pull up to the station, and the trucks stop.
Machine tractor station Kharkov-37.
Machine tractor station Kharkov-37. Yeah.
So, this is machine tractor station Kharkov.
Triepanov says, "Yes, looks to me like this is machine tractor station Kharkov-37.
Oh, look, there's the sign.
Ah, yes.
Machine tractor station Kharkov-37.
I spot it. It's pretty quiet around here, isn't it?"
That's machine tractor station.
So at this stage, if you like, I think you all have a map of Machine Tractor Station Kharkov-37.
I love it.
Oh, yeah. What's that, a greenhouse? Allotment gardens? This looks lovely. It's like a garden centre.
I think it will be useful for us as we move around if you've got any questions. And it gives you an idea of the size of it and the amount of buildings and stuff. The first thing you all observe is that it's very quiet. All the ground is very dry and dusty, completely without vegetation. Major and Doctor, you can smell a sort of whiff of decay in the air. Lieutenant Fyodorov, you're not sure whether that smell is just lingering on your hand from where you touched the rabbit, because it's not overwhelming, it's just a hint. But is it coming in on the wind when the wind blows from a certain direction? Maybe. It's hard to tell. Everything just looks dry and brittle. You can see various buildings. So if you want to look at the map, tell me whether there's anything you want to look out, anything you want to do.
I think the first thing I say as we're putting up to a stop is, well, all I can say is MTSKH-37 is exactly what I expected. And
MTSK-37. Oh, you
MTSKH-37. Machine Tractor Station Kharkov-37.
Well, this was fun.
Well, this was fun.
The first thing I'd like to do is check out this gap where the poles have been taken. What I suspect they've been taken. Because I assume they're as big as a modern telegraph pole, right? They're like 2 stories high.
Yeah, they are. That's you might have to get back in the trucks and.
Oh, is it a way away?
Yeah, you drove past that on the way in, but as you drove past, I'll be honest, there wasn't much to see. It was just a gap. It was a gap in the line of poles.
But still, to remove those sort of size poles, that's not a small operation.
No, I mean
the poles weren't like smashed or broken nearby or anything like that, or cut down. They were physically gone.
They were gone from that location, yeah.
So someone's taken them and kept.
Yeah, presumably.
That seems like a big job. For just terrorism, domestic terrorism.
Yeah. Maybe
when you could chop them down and leave them there.
You may be sharing some of these ideas with Triepanov?
Yes. I might say openly to everyone. If I was to sabotage a telegraph pole, I would chop it down, I would maybe set it on fire, I would destroy it, but I wouldn't feel the need to hide it. So my theory at the moment is that the poles have been taken, possibly by counter-revolutionaries, and used.
But for what, Major?
This I cannot say.
Well, maybe we should see if we can find the staff of the station and ask them
exactly
what has happened. I mean, that's why they have not been able to get a message to us. Their line is down, but...
Yes. However, I must request, if it is all right with you, Comrade Senior Lieutenant Fyodorov, that we, when talking to the staff, we must not allow them to become too fearful. We must assume that there is a counter-revolutionary element within them until we can be sure that there is not.
See?
Guilty until proven otherwise.
Well,
of course.
I suppose that will give them the chance to exonerate themselves. So, yes.
If they have nothing to hide, then they will show us everything.
That's the way.
Argument with that?
This is the way.
Is faultless.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Question about your theory about the poles being stolen. Why steal the telegraph poles?
This is exactly my concern.
Exactly. Why would you disappear them? You would chop them down, perhaps, or push them over. I don't see the logic.
Exactly. Neither do I. And this disturbs me. Because you have to remember that people who wish to go against communism are mad.
Well, of course, yes.
And they need to be re-educated by force.
Yes.
So by this point, the men are getting out of the trucks and they're unloading all the equipment. They're unpacking all the tent stuff and having a discussion with the sergeants. And one of the sergeants comes up to you, Lieutenant Fyodorov, and says, Lieutenant, the men would like to ask, should they set up the camp in tents here, or is there room in the barracks?
What time is it?
It's morning. It's really early in the morning. You set off from your camp at about 6. It's before 10 a.m.
I'm going to say, Sergeant, just say to hold off for now.
Of course.
We'll check out the state of the barracks and see if they have space for us there.
Of course. Which they should unload the equipment while the weather is not too bad and just leave it here.
Where are we? We're like just outside the gate, are we? Or where?
Part within the compound, basically. Looking at the map, I think you've come in from the north.
Yeah. In terms of the equipment, I might say, take, be on guard, of course, just in case, but take a breather. We'll take a few of you with us and just check out the situation here before we unload anything.
So he goes back and he sets the men about, sort of smoking. He tells one of the squads to sort of rest easy.
Yeah.
And the other ones, he tells the other squad to sort of be prepared to help you out with whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
You seem to have really won them over by the fact that you buried that rabbit. For a while there, you thought you might have a little bit of resistance on your hands, but they're back on your side.
Duh.
Comrades, I suggest we go to the administrative building and find out who's in charge.
Yes.
And enjoy their fanatical candor, telling us everything that has been going on. And if we do not have that candor, they become a suspect.
Agreed. Kowalski, I'm assuming it's his squad who are still ready to go if they need to be.
Yeah. Sure, yeah. What's up?
2 of your men with us, please.
Okay, so they come. So we're all heading towards the sort of administrative buildings, are we?
I think that's it. Yeah, I think they can switch around for morale, but if it's us guys with a couple of hands,
Okay, so marked on your map, that's where the number 1 is. The 6 small buildings where the telegraph line comes out from.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
As you make your way over there, you realise there's basically 7 buildings. They look like they were originally barracks, being converted into various different things. You can see that some of them have been partially damaged in a fire. Two of them look like they've been severely damaged by fire.
Oh dear.
They're of sort of wooden construction with brick base, just 1 story, and then there's a little outhouse. The first one you come to is the administrative housing block. Are you all sort of basically operating as a team together?
I think my idea was bring the sergeant and the 2 guys along to sort of stay outside.
Okay.
While we sort of test the ground inside the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Unless anyone has some better ideas.
We're going to number 1 here.
Yeah.
I might just say to Fyodorov, Lieutenant, perhaps we should send the others in first. They do have the assault combat skills.
Yes.
You and I are the support officers.
Kowalski, you and your men check out this building here.
Yes, sir. So they go into the first building. They're gone, 5-10 minutes. Come back and say that looks like that might be senior officers' barracks, but there's nobody in there. But it looks like it's quite.
Can I do a psychology roll on him?
Yeah.
I've passed it, 25. In fact, that's a hard success.
He's not hiding anything. He feels like he's seen nothing of any interest, basically.
He's not trying to hide anything.
No.
Very good. Very good. Yes, Sergeant.
Thank you. Listen, men. You'll have the best meal of the night, believe me. But we're going to have to take these buildings one by one. So if you don't mind moving on to B,
all right.
We'll keep
sure.
tabs.
We didn't have a good look. We didn't sort of search it. We didn't turn it upside down, but
That's quite all right. We are essentially seeing, unfortunately, whether or not we can find any signs of violence or a scuffle or bodies or anything like that. We have to assume the worst, eh?
if you want to give me, I tell you what, Lieutenant Fyodorov, if you want to give me an intelligence roll, now you're in amongst these barracks.
Yeah. Can I push that?
Yeah. So basically, what I'm looking for, it's kind of an idea roll, just to see whether you know how barracks are set out. You can sort of see what the layout is. You might be able to make some assumptions on what these buildings are based on the way they're laid out.
So I'm going to push it by just sort of racking my brains and thinking back over the different positions I served in, like even before I was part of the Red Army. There's a sort of general military structure, right? So I've succeeded on that role.
Okay, great, cool. So what you can see, they've been to the first office, which you can tell is like a sort of administrative housing for the party officials, basically. Then there's two buildings that are burnt quite badly. One of them you can tell is the Telegraph office, because it's where the telegraph line comes in from. And another one looks to you like it's probably the infirmary.
Mm.
And then there are two housing blocks, a mess hall and a prison.
A prison?
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
the fuck does the tractor storage need a prison?
MTS KH-37 has a prison. Do you have a problem with that, comrade?
You have 20 men up here in the wilderness.
You're big with your chat about Stalin, and then you start to question why there might be a prison.
Are you asking people why there's a prison? Well, I don't know. You don't even know there is, actually. Fyodorov hasn't necessarily shared this information
That
yet.
was meta chat. That was
Okay.
Meta
Yeah.
chat.
that was commentary.
Consign that to commentary. I'm going to head in with the sergeant for the next search on a building.
Okay. So the next one along is the Telegraph office. It's badly burnt. But if you pop in there,
I'll look for bodies.
you can see it's really just the charred brick foundation. Give me a spot hidden roll.
I will. I've aced it 13, which I think is an excellent, because I have 67%.
So you find a telegraph key.
Ooh.
I'm not quite sure how that works, but I'm sure the Telegraph team will. It's
An interesting key.
it looks like it's in pretty bad condition, but it's your choice whether you want to hand that over to the team, to the Telegraph repair team.
I think I take it back to. I think I take it back to the lieutenant, and I say very openly, Lieutenant, I found this. It looks like it's technical.
Major,
Mm.
you know what this is? In the Telegraph office, I believe.
That is a telegraph key. Looks badly damaged.
Good. We are the best team ever.
No flies on us.
What's
Yeah,
the
looks
opening
pretty
statement about Red Hook? When he says, Malone was the best possible man to be able to deduce the problems that he was facing. And he went stark raving insane.
We're not the best possible men, but we're the best available men.
Sounds great, Russia. Go Russia.
Sorry, what was the question? That is a telegraph key. It is badly damaged.
Still usable?
Try and combine it with every other item in your inventory to see if it creates something else.
You can tell by looking at it that it could probably be repaired with the help of a successful mechanical repair or electrical repair roll, but it would take some time, and it might not be much
Even
use.
is it? Is it like a codex kind of
I
thing?
don't know. I think it is. Yeah, I think it's like a decoding.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 I see. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. That makes me think of something.
Well, what it makes me think of is why would they take out the telegraph?
May I have a closer look at that telegraph key?
Of course, Comrade. And I
Take
will
it.
pass it over to the Major.
What I want to determine is if this telegraph key is what I think it is, like you say, a kind of codex, then what I want to know is, has it been tampered with, or is it the standard issue? Is this a different version?
You can't tell much from looking at it because it's so badly burnt. But what you can tell... Who was it who found it? Was it the doctor?
Yeah.
The doctor, if he doesn't mind sharing this information with you, discovered it did not look like this key was like deliberately damaged. It looks like it's just collateral damage in the fact that this whole building was burnt down.
Right.
In fact, give me an intelligence roll.
That's 70 for me.
So yeah, you've passed. So you've seen fire damage before. This isn't the building where the fire started anyway. It looks to you like the fire started in the next building, the infirmary next door.
No.
Let us check this infirmary. It looks like I believe the fire spread from the infirmary. I think we need to get in there and see what was the cause.
Of course. Yes. Good thinking, Major. Of course. Lieutenant, shall we do this?
Who's going in the infirmary?
I will.
Perhaps we should all go in.
Great.
Bring Count Doku as well, or whatever he was called.
Count Dooku is dead, Commander. He was killed in 27.
So who's going in first?
I will.
Really?
Okay.
I say that out of character. Really?
Who else is with us, though?
When we have all of these soldiers with us?
All right, send a red shirt in. You.
No. Meta reference. Fair enough. Yes. I think we should probably send one of our...
Kovaleski, let's go. We'll follow you in.
All right.
No, not him. He's got an accent. He's got a character. Send one we haven't talked
So
to.
he just sticks his head in and he says, "This is very, very badly burnt in here. Do you want me to have a look around?"
Everything's a chore for this guy.
Yeah.
It's all right. We're all coming.
It's based on Dave Lister.
Yes.
Yes, we're going to have a quick look inside, see if we can establish the cause of the fire.
Okay. So I'd just like to know who's inside and who's not inside.
I think we're going to go in.
Good.
Great. Okay. So
We should have sent Kachansky in first.
You know, you say inside. There's not really much building. Again, it's just like foundations, like blackened mess. But you know, having had a little look around the last building and discovered a key, maybe you start having a little look around in here. Yeah.
I'm looking for human remains.
You're actively looking for human remains.
Yes, I am.
I'm expecting.
Well, in that case, I'm not even going to make you roll. You find very quickly, stepping forward, your foot dislodges a human skull in the ashes, and I would like a sanity roll, please.
Close up.
I imagine.
Wah, wah, wah.
Even in my experienced state as a medical officer.
Yeah.
Yes. He's asked for it. 28.
You passed.
Oh,
I passed.
I'm still going to say you lose 1 point of sanity. I'm afraid.
fair enough, because I found exactly what I'm looking for. I think I stop in my tracks with my foot on the skull, and my pipe between my teeth, and I just stare at it, and I say, Lieutenant, I think something bad happened here.
Yes.
I said the obvious, my friend.
Can we scan the room? Is it
Or the
the ground and rubble? Is there a lot of bodies? Can we sort of pick out that there's more than this?
Yeah.
It's rubble and ash. You having a quick look, you can see like maybe other bones, but you would suspect it would probably take like several hours work to properly excavate this and find out. Remember, you've got quite a big team of people, so at this stage I'm going to start talking to you in terms of man hours.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a bit boring, but
No, that is working for the Soviet Union.
so basically this if you want to fully excavate this rubble, this is 4 man hours. So you could put 4 men on it for an hour, or you could put all the men on it for 10 minutes, or you could just leave someone there and move on and come back to it in 4 hours' time.
And this is the second of the 2 burnt buildings.
Yeah.
The others don't look to have been burnt, so this is probably the only one that's going to need that level of excavation, I'm thinking. I might say, what do you think, Doctor? I think maybe we get a team of men to dig through and recover the remains.
I deliberately look over at the Major at this point, and I say very openly, well, I'm not sure what the Major thinks, but it strikes me that there are only 2 reasons why this building would have been burnt down. A terrible accident, or very deliberately.
I think, judging by the interference of the telegraph, that it is possible it was deliberate. However...
Okay. But my key point here is, Major, forgive me for interrupting. However, let us hold that moment. But if you are destroying the infirmary, why would you do that?
Yes.
My fear is you destroyed
your
the
theory,
infirmary because of plague or fear of infection. I may be jumping to conclusions here, but I see no reason. You have said very smartly, I think very wisely, this is the spread point of the whole fire. And looking at it, I begin to concur with you. I think this is exactly where this all started. But my problem here is why?
What if it was a concerted attempt to wipe out those people who work for the machine tractor station Kharkov-37? And they wanted to cut them off completely. So they attacked them in the infirmary with fire.
What do they have to gain? Tractors. They have
then
tractors
the infirmary is destroyed. No one can... What they have to gain, I don't know. As I have said, capitalists are mad.
I agree. Lieutenant?
I think for now we check out the rest of the buildings. I don't think it wise to unsettle the men more than we have to. I also share your concerns about perhaps it being the controlling of some sort of disease. It's possible. Your idea intrigues me. Let's check out the rest of the buildings and see what situation we are in.
I lean towards them both as conspiratorially as I can, including, obviously, Trepanov and probably Durkov in the background.
Yeah, Dugov.
Say, bearing in mind the terrible mutation that we witnessed on the rabbit, perhaps things got out of hand.
You think that's connected to what happened here?
It was very local, was it not? 3 hours up the road. Also, bear in mind, our own soldiers did not react well. What if something... I'm only theorizing.
Well, here is a question.
Ourselves.
If you will allow me to be blunt, what you're describing sounds an awful lot like what we witnessed at that last collective farm. Tell me, Dr. Senior Lieutenant, what happened there? Was there a similar infection that inspired people to burn the buildings down?
No, not that I'm aware of, no.
No, that was last year.
No reports like this have come in from anywhere nearby.
Interesting. It is good if it is a single, solitary incident, because then it means we are tightening the noose.
Quite right. And not to jump to any conclusions, but of course, if it is a similar thing, thank the Lord the building was burned. I mean, thank the party the building was burned.
Trepanov just pops in. You didn't realize, but he'd been off checking out the housing blocks. And he says, I've been to Block D and Block E, the housing, and there's very little to see there. You could have another party digging around in there for an hour to see if you can find anything, but it looks pretty bare to me.
Okay. And are there any of them we've missed then?
Yeah, could you tell me first, did you want to put a team at work digging around in this infirmary or not?
I feel like if the infirmary is the source of the fire, it would be good to excavate it so that we can identify the cause.
I think
You got a lot of men.
I think I should lead a group of men in the infirmary.
Well, I think you can probably give. I can take it as read that you take 4 people. You've got a big team of people. You take 4 people and give them fairly good instructions. Just leave them to it for an hour. How about that? Yeah, 4 people to work there.
For the record, that I think this is a bad idea, but the doctor has won me over.
Yes, I will try to persuade you. I will. So I think it is worth investigating.
Talking about the possibility of mutations or some form of disease.
This is fire.
Comrades. We have allowed that rabbit to spook us. We are becoming paranoid. We are talking about mutations, radiations. All we know is that the infirmary was set on fire. It is an infirmary. There was probably a Bunsen burner or something, I don't know, something warming up, cauterizing a wound. It caught the curtains. It went up in flames. We don't know.
You're right, of course. My concern was more for the men's psychology. They seemed spooked themselves. You're right.
We have a very superstitious bunch of men, but
we should, of course, retrieve the remains of any comrades who died in this fire.
If anything, it will probably put them at ease to bury them as well.
Exactly.
However, I must ask if it is all right with you, comrades, in execution of my duties, I would very much like to inspect the silos to see if we can assess the amount of food stored and if any supplies have been hoarded.
Let us head there next.
Do you want to finish looking around these barracks? I mean, the 2 you haven't looked at are the mess hall and the prison. But you don't have to. You could move straight on.
We know we should.
No point walking all the way over there to walk all the way back.
That's what Trepanov points out.
In which case, I say, "What are you, Trepanov, my grandmother?"
Sometimes it feels like it. Not really. He says, the next one is the mess hall, I believe. So you wander over to the mess hall, and
I eat some biscuits on the way.
Do I notice him eating things all the time in his backpack?
I don't know. Do you?
Does he?
Spot hidden. Give me a spot hidden.
Okay.
What's your spot hidden?
63, I think.
No, you don't notice. You don't notice.
Good.
No, in fact, oh God, that was I'll tell you what happened.
What did you...
You don't notice him eating the biscuits, but you do notice a weird sort of...
Hang on, did I just fumble that?
Yeah.
Did he?
Oh, shit.
As you look over and you try and sort of work out whether he's eating a biscuit or not, you just see a weird sort of, almost like in the distance, like a sort of halo of light in the sky that just passes and then goes.
I love this game, but
like a sort of atmospheric phenomenon. I don't know why. It's you just looking over his shoulder, and just above the burnt out building you can see the sky, and there's a shimmer, and then it's gone. That's all you see. Maybe give me a sanity roll. It was a bit weird.
Yeah, go on.
26.
I've got 71.
Fine, you don't lose any sanity.
Dangerously sane.
Yeah, it was probably a mirage. So you walk over
to a UFO.
You walk over to the mess hall, and as you're walking, Sergeant, what's his name? Kowalewski says, I don't know how much you Telegraph folks know about this station. I know a bit of the history about it. If you want to know, you might think I saw you when you spotted the prison. You looked a bit surprised when they built the test dairy here. They brought some convicts out of the penal system and used them as slave labor. So that's probably what the prison was for.
Slave labor? You mean they were given the opportunity to exercise their...
Sure, that's what I said. Exercise their exercise. You knew there was a test dairy here, right?
I believe I read that in my report, yes.
It was a very, very successful farm for a while. And then it sort of dried up.
I'm going through my files like this, turning things over, and I go, yes, I see that in the output began reducing in 1930, around then.
No, it was pretty good in 1931. It was just last year when it's sort of tailed off.
Yes, but in 1930 it tailed off, and the representative was removed.
I don't know about that. Anyway, should we stick our heads in the mess hall before we go to the prison?
Did I know this already about Kovalevsky?
What about Kovalevsky?
That
He worked here.
that he was.
Oh, no, he hasn't worked here. He's just...
Oh, I see. Sorry.
No, he's just reporting what he knows about the history of the site.
But we'd have a similar knowledge.
I think so, yeah. I think so. It was relatively well known that this was a really successful farm, and they built a test dairy here.
Cool. Just checking we didn't.
I'm very suspicious about how he glossed over the guy who was sacked. Very suspicious.
Well, do you want to do a psychology roll?
Yes, I think I do.
You roll a 68.
What's my psychology? Got so much paperwork.
It's close. Luck. Spend luck. Spend
Central
the
Committee.
luck. Spend the luck. Spend the luck.
What was it? 68.
Mm.
I'll spend 1 point of luck to make it a success.
He doesn't know anything about it.
Ah.
He's being completely honest. He's being completely open with you. He's just sort of chatty and letting you know some stuff.
Scout nonsense.
So I'm gonna move you on if that's all right.
Yeah.
So you poke your head in the mess hall, and like the other buildings, it was clearly originally intended as housing, but converted into a mess hall. There's a couple of coal stoves, there's coal pots, pans. It looks like it was. Normally, you would expect a military mess hall to be like totally clean and spick and span at all times. This looks like it was left or deserted very soon after a meal was cooked. If you can do a spot hidden roll, all of you, I might be able to tell you what that last meal was.
Aced it. 0-3.
Ooh. So
Doesn't get better than that.
the last meal, you have a real poke around in there and you've got a bit of scientific knowledge.
I'm looking for food, probably.
The last meal was made up of oats and shoe leather.
Oh.
That's not the sign of a successful dairy farm.
Fyodorov, look at this. Look at this. And I use my gun, my pistol barrel to move the remainder of what I think is shoe leather. And I say, this is shoe leather, yes?
Yes.
Bad times in MTS KH-37.
But Chippy Chappy Scouser man over there, what was his name?
Kovalevsky.
He was saying that it was a very successful, and indeed, after 1931, I believe it was. So, a successful farm, especially a dairy farm, why would they need to boil their shoes?
Well, something clearly happened. Whether the livestock was stolen or whether something went wrong.
Has anyone got any biology?
Yeah, and I have to say, I think that might be a sanity roll for me. Just the moment he said that, my mind has gone forwards.
Okay.
As I roll my biology roll, let's see if I succeed with my biology.
Yeah, that might inform what happens.
Because I'm thinking, why would you need to eat? So I'm thinking this is preserved stores, the last of the oats. Oh my God, I've aced my biology on a 0-5. I only had 29.
So that's an extreme success. So I'm going to tell you that you notice that there is no mold on anything, even the food which has been set out there. You think back to the fires in the other buildings, you think those are not recent fires. you think about, how long it's been since there's been contact from this station. This food's been sat out there for clearly some time, and there's not a single bit you have a little sniff of it.
Now I'll do that sanity check. I think.
Yeah, it's just not right. There's no mold on any of the food.
I've failed that by 10.
You lose 1 point of sanity.
I think I step away from I've got the gun, and I step away from the table, and my gun just kind of drifts down. And I'm looking at Fyodorov, and I say, no, this is not... Where, comrade.
Yes.
Where is the mold? Where is the mold?
Oh, no, my friend.
On these oats, everything should be rotted here.
Well, perhaps the coal, there'll be an explanation.
All right. I put my gun away, and I reach into my bag, and then I remember where I am, and I sort of just walk over to the door, and I say, I need some fresh air. And I walk out of the mess.
Okay. So, you've all come out of the mess in various states of sanity. The good doctor's had a little piss up against the building, which he now realizes as he sort of comes to his senses is the prison that Kovalevsky was talking about. So this building is fairly intact. If you sort of stick your heads inside, there's not a lot. Can someone give me an intelligence roll? Any of you?
Yeah.
Fine. As long as someone's passed, you notice that there's a big, like, heavy bar that could be used to lock the door, basically, and bars bolted across the window. It's clear that this was quite an effective prison. Anyone housed in here was clearly housed against their will.
Yeah.
But it's bare, it's empty, there's no possessions. There's a bit of graffiti on the walls, but even the bunks have been moved. You feel like you could probably search it for ages and not find anything. What was the plan? Where did you plan to go next?
Well,
I'd like to check the silos, but we can do anything if you want.
No, I think that's a good idea. There's something ringing in my head still about what the doctor said about the food having no mold on it, and I just want to see what the supply.
Please know what's in there. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to leave their company, but I'm aware that there's this other large building very close by with a paddock.
Well, why don't you walk past that on your way up to the silos?
What does that look like?
It looks like a barn. It looks like one of the newest buildings here. It's like an open-sided barn, so you can see in as you pass that it's nearly totally empty.
Nearly.
There's like some crumbling hay, some very old hay, and some sort of discarded farm stuff. I mean, you can go and have a little closer look if you like. I don't think it will take you too long to have a little look in there if you want to.
I think we may as well. I think that open and that's sort of, it's inviting. But,
Yeah.
I'll have a look at a six-legged cow or whatever.
Sure.
As you head over, you see a few sort of haystacks. So there's a few discarded rags and a few wooden buckets. There's some wooden crates. You want to have a look at any of that? You want to have a closer look at any of that?
I think I might, if there's crates there, I might,
Great.
want to kick, see if it sounds hollow, easily opens or anything.
So who's going over to the crates? The senior lieutenant.
Yeah, I'm going with him.
You're going
I'll
with him.
go with it. We'll all go.
Oh, okay, great.
We're in now.
So it looks like
We'll all stand behind the lieutenant.
Yeah.
it looks like they have got old sort of rusting milking equipment that hasn't been used for a long time. Do you want to give me a spot hidden? Anyone who's looking at the crates?
I'm going to look at a crate.
Yeah.
Give me a roll down. Well,
I actually passed the spot hidden.
I'll
Yeah,
find out.
I was close, but no cigar.
Well, okay, so Danann's passed. I'm afraid Dom has rolled a critical success. 1. You've rolled a 1, Dom.
Oh,
So
I'm good at looking in crates.
You certainly are. So
seen too much, I think.
This isn't for milking cows. It's for milking men!
So the Senior Lieutenant Fyodorov, he moves aside some of the milking equipment and finds a small nest of mice
Oh no.
that are dead, sadly.
Oh,
And he sort of moves away, having, I think, maybe still being a little bit disturbed by the rabbit that you spent so long looking at. You don't want to have a similar experience, but unfortunately, Administrator Major Yuri Kopelev.
what's that?
Exactly, what's that? He says as he charges forward. He reaches down to pick up one of the mice, sort of remembering the senior lieutenant's bold action as he grabbed the rabbit, and he goes down, and as he goes to lift up the mice, they crumble like dust in his hands. It's almost like they weren't mice at all. It was just like sand in the shape of a mouse. It just sort of drains through his hand. There's nothing, just powdery nothing, completely desiccated and dry.
So much worse than I expected.
Could you give me a sanity roll, please?
Yes. You'll have to do it for me, though.
Yes.
Reality is beginning to pitch.
Well, you've passed it. You're
Hold on.
you're okay.
Just some sand. They were obviously very desiccated. They could have been there for hundreds of years.
They could have been, or were they? And then behind the barn is a sort of large paddock, which the doctor spotted that are clearly intended for cattle, but there's nothing there but mud. And that's it. That's all you can see in the barn.
Move on to the silos, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm beginning to see why you might want to burn this down.
If we're passing the back of 3, we should see what we see at the back of 3. Is there anything, or is it just
Okay.
I like how Joseph keeps encouraging us to go and look at things, and then me and Dan
Not
are the ones
looking.
who see shit,
I haven't
while he's
failed.
wandered off to the next paddock. Oh, look at this! Look at this
Pissing
pile of
against the
hay.
next wall, drinking more vodka.
What are you screaming about back there?
What is your problem, my friends, comrades?
So I'd just like to remind you that you do have, like, I could be giving you like man-hour times as well. I mean, you could to look around the barn fully would take another 2 man-hours. You could set people to it.
Have we already set anyone to do anything?
We set people to...
We're doing the
Infirmary.
infirmary.
The infirmary.
Got 4 in the infirmary. Should we send another 2 people into the... Let's do it.
Yeah, I think Kovalevsky, we find another 2 men to...
Sure thing. My men like nothing better than digging around in a barn for 2 hours.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll appreciate the hard work.
As you're passing number 3, that's the dairy.
I underline his name in my notebook again.
he's not too worried about your notebook.
Should be.
As
Will be.
as you pass this next building, you realise it's the dairy that some of you know that this was a test dairy that was going to be put on this site because of how productive it had been, but it hasn't been finished. It was only started in the summer and they never finished it. So it's just a foundation, really. If you have a little look around, you can see some tanks that were clearly intended to store milk, but they don't have the pumping equipment attached to them. There's still some building materials like cement mixing equipment. There's nothing obvious. You could put a couple of men at it. It's another sort of 2 man-hours basically to look at this place, if you wanted.
If it looks unfinished, I'm not as interested, I don't think.
Yeah, you get the
I think
feeling there's nothing there.
We'll roll on.
Okay.
Towards the silos.
To the silos.
The silos.
This is... I'm looking at my map. This is B rather than...
The silos is 5A, B, and C.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yeah.
It's not very clear.
See, I was thinking we'd walk past that building and gone to these ones.
Oh, sorry. Well,
Oh no, I meant the other ones, but yeah.
Yeah, no,
Whatever.
yeah, 2B is something else. We haven't looked at that yet.
2B.
Did we glance that crossing from 2 to 3? Did we glance through to the Bs?
We're in the area to head towards either.
I reckon you've got time to look at one more thing before we finish. So is it the silos or is it whatever's over there.
I feel like it's the silos, but that's just because we've been talking about it for a long time.
Yeah.
And also because of the food, I feel like the answer to the food question there might be a clue in the silos at least.
Yeah.
If you're glancing over at, let's see, would you have a good look at those if you'd walk past 2? Yeah, you'd be able to have a look. So I think you can see even from a distance that what's marked at point 2 is pyres of burnt remains.
Oh no! I had a feeling it was going to be something like that. Shit.
Wow. Okay. So that's
what's over there. Even from a distance, given the location, given everything you've seen so far, give me an intelligence roll.
It's got to be cattle, right? Can't be anything else.
Right, but even if they've burned cattle, that's still quite disturbing because I doubt it's BSE.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's bad though, isn't it?
I failed my intelligence, unfortunately.
I failed my intelligence, perhaps thankfully.
Could you roll for mine, please, Commissar?
Rolled a 72.
Oh, I'll spend the point of luck. No, 2 points of luck. I'll spend 2 points of luck.
Well, then you are pretty sure, given what you know, Administrator Major, given what you know about the history of this site, that that's where they burnt cattle. I mean,
that's just where they've burnt the cattle.
The other 2 of you who failed your intelligence rolls, God knows what you think.
That's worse, right?
Yeah, much worse. If you were interested in looking into that further, you could put some people to work.
I don't think I'm going to put anyone on that until.
Again, I think it's get to these silos and see what the silos think. If
Mental health.
yeah, I mean, Fyodorov, I think it's important we see what the store was like, what the grain store was like.
I think we'll lose a lot of goodwill from the men if we set them to digging up a pyre of dead cows.
Okay, here we go. So you come up to the silos. The most obvious thing that really, if you'd had a good look at them as soon as you arrived, it would have been completely obvious to you that one of them is inexplicably surrounded by those missing telegraph poles with lights mounted on the top of them. It's got these
missing
poles.
Telegraph poles.
Yeah. So all the silos are made of brick, sort of brick and mortar. One is completely finished, one is partially finished, and one is only just started. And the partially finished one, the one in the middle, is surrounded by telegraph poles topped with what look like makeshift lights.
When you say lights, do you mean like electric lights or?
Well, you probably have to have a little bit of a closer look to know exactly what is there, but that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I walk over to Fyodorov and I whisper to him. I'm not trying to hide it.
Is there an easy way of checking the silos and seeing if any of them have any sort of... I'm assuming the unfinished one wouldn't have any sort of anything left in it.
So I can tell you what they sort of look like from the outside in terms of access. The first one has a big sort of portrait of Lenin on it, and this is common that they have, leaders painted on the side of silos so they can nickname them. So the first one they just call Lenin, and it's intact and whole. It's 30 foot tall. There's big access door. Each silo has big access doors at the bottom of them. They look like they might be a bit rusty, but you could probably force them open. There's also a grain chute right at the top that potentially you could climb up and look in. And so the first one has doors and a chute. The second one has doors and it's unfinished, so you could probably climb up and look in the top. And then the third one is basically just the foundation.
I want to just walk up and give one a good knock. Just see what sort of... They're metal, right?
No, they're brick. Sorry. So...
I am going to walk up right next to him and I'm going to say, wait, comrade. Are you sure you need to knock on this? Because you look like you're about to knock on this. We need to just... Would you not consider stepping back? Why would we need to knock on this silo right now?
we need to find out what the supply situation was. No? I think we all have an inkling, but we should check, no?
All right. Yes, of course you are right, Lieutenant, Comrade Lieutenant.
I will sort of order one of the privates to climb up the half-finished one. Does it look like it might be easy to climb up? Like, how high?
So the half-finished one, the one that's surrounded by the lamps?
One you could potentially peer into, was that one?
Yeah.
Without having to like force anything open or...
So basically, that one, the second one, it's got a sort of circular hole about 10 feet up. So that's where you could sort of peer in.
But there's no sort of footholds necessarily. It's still a relatively sheer brick wall up until that point.
You could climb up. I think there might be a ladder up the side, I think.
If there's a ladder...
It would need a climb roll, that's all I know.
Fuck it. I'll look.
You're going to go up yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to the middle silo, the one with the telegraph poles around it. So as you get closer, you realise it's partially finished. It shows some signs of damage. It's about 20 feet tall. This one's got a portrait of Stalin on, but it's only sort of an outline.
Before I reach it, I want to turn to the Major and say, Major, your matches. May I?
Yeah.
Okay.
My matches, actually, but I've taken yours now anyway.
So give me a climb roll. If you want to try and climb upside, give me a climb roll.
Let me just check my climb skill. I imagine it's...
Wait. Why don't you take my lamp?
Thank you.
But for goodness sake, do not drop it. For the sake of the party, do not drop it.
Hey, for the sake of the party, for goodness sake, do not use it.
My time's actually 40, so I succeed.
Great. Okay, so you climb up the side and you make it as far as the hole, and you can you're going to have a look in the hole?
I'm going to sort of hold the lamp in and just see.
So you can see that...
Remember, I need that for surgery.
I know.
So as you hold the lamp up to the hole, you see it measures like about like 9 inches across, enough to sort of get your face in, basically. And as you get close to it, it looks like the sides around the hole has sort of melted away, and there is an utterly abominable stench coming from it. Can I have a Constitution roll, please?
Yeah.
He's going to have a vomiting fit and fall off the ladders.
Drop my fucking lamp.
I got a hard success.
Oh, well played.
So you just retch a bit, but you managed to hold it down.
Does it smell sort of sulphurous or like?
No, it smells like death.
What I might do is light a match.
Okay.
Pull that out into the hole and see if there's one affected at all.
Nothing happens. The match it goes out before it burns out. It's like there's not enough oxygen in there for the fire to feed off. So you have a look in the hole?
Yeah. I hold my breath.
Yeah. As far as you can tell, it looks like there's
Hello.
It looks like there's liquid in there.
No.
There's the sort of oily sheen of a liquid. These are grain silos. Liquid is odd.
Faction.
The sort of liquid is like 6 feet down from where you are. You can't reach it from where you are. There are access doors at the bottom, or you might be able to find something to poke around.
Opening the doors, releasing
I'm not going to push further now. That's me out of there.
What do you see, Lieutenant? You look transfixed. Is everything all right?
It's filled with liquid. Don't open the doors.
Did he say open the doors?
Don't open the doors. I think he said don't open. Did you say don't?
All right, you
open
heard him, Petrovich. Open the doors.
Don't open the doors. Belay that order.
Please don't open the doors.
So while you're up there on the side of the silo, you're a bit closer to the telegraph poles. So you can see that each of the poles is topped with some sort of light. So they're topped with headlights from tractors, or like big arc lights from the garages, groups of small bulbs stripped from buildings around the station, like all different types of lights, and they're all directed into the silo, basically in the top. And then there's a big cable that runs from them towards a truck in the parking area. So, I mean, you can't really do much through this little hole. You could potentially climb a bit higher and look in the top, or you could potentially come down and try and get the doors open at the bottom.
I get the impression that looking at the top's not going to do much if I've already sort of
Well, do the rest of us notice this cable that leads to the car?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, presumably.
I'll call up Senior Lieutenant Fyodorov, comrade. Do you want me to start the engine to see if it turns the lights on? Perhaps you will get a better look.
Yeah, you may as well try.
I'll go and try.
Wait. Just one moment.
What?
If this is established to give light into the silo, I'm just thinking.
My friend, I'm becoming increasingly convinced that everyone here went utterly mad. There are tractor lights up here, lights stripped out of buildings. It doesn't make any sense. None of this makes sense. These are the actions of insane men.
And so those lights
is like the Rockefeller Center.
It's like Trump Tower.
Mad.
The lights aren't on at this moment.
No.
They're just sat there.
Mm-hmm.
I go and start the car.
I have this dreadful sense that might not be the right thing to do, but I don't know what to do.
It's the most logical thing to do.
Me as Danann thinks that it might not be the right thing to do, but I honestly think at this stage it's like, this is just a mad thing. I need to see what...
I think the doctor thinks this is a mad idea because he's remembering something about photosynthesis and he doesn't quite connect the dots.
You need UV for that, wouldn't you? I don't think these sorts of lights would do it, would they?
I don't know, but it feels so kind of pertinent that it's into liquid. There's liquid and then there's light, but the light isn't there. But anyway, he doesn't do anything. He just kind of stands there. He's got his pipe in his hand.
While you're standing there, and Senior Lieutenant Grigor Fyodorov is still at the top of the ladder, like half facing the hole, looking out, still stifling a gag. He hears this gloop, and then you look in the hole.
I've started the engine.
You haven't, unfortunately. And you hear that gloop, and you look in the hole to see what it was. And up from the liquid, you hold out your lamp, and up through the liquid floats a horrifically disfigured human face. And I would like you to give me a sanity roll, please.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. I believe my
I rolled an 80 there, so...
You dive in.
And you lose 4 sanity.
Lovely.
And I think we should leave it there.
Oh no. Just as we find out where the...
Oh God, that was horrible.
Machine Tractor Station Kharkov-37 is not a nice place, is it?
It's not a really nice place.
You know what? The slime person is actually a relief, because up until this point it's been so desolate.